Hey guys, Joe here with Local Pro Helper, and in this video I'm going to show you a brief overview of Google Ads, and basically the goal of it is to show you how simple it is so that way you can actually start doing it on your own. Because there's a lot of people that charge probably a minimum of $750 per month to anywhere to about $1,500 per month to do this service for you. And me personally, I own Deptford Fence in South Jersey. I've personally been doing my own Google Ads for the last 3 to 4 years. And I've tried at this point hiring 5 different companies, and literally no one can produce the same amount of results that I can, or the quality results as well as the low pricing that I get. So, and it's not that difficult. So I'm going to go through it. I had just tried making this video. The previous one was like 45 minutes long, but no one's going to pay attention to that stuff. So I'm literally going to try to just condense everything as much as I possibly can. So there will be other questions, but at least this will get you on your way. And then what you can do is just ask your questions, and then basically I can produce videos or answer that, or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to shrink myself down and put on my computer glasses. If you don't use them, they're blue light glasses. They actually really help. So here's Google Ads. Now, I got to warn you that, until you get started with this, it's going to just seem like mess. But when you first get started, you're only going to have basically one thing to look at. So without further ado, I'm just going to go right into it. Okay. Also, I'm not showing you how to set up your Google Ad account, and I'm not showing you how to put in your tracking codes within Google Ads onto your websites and everything else. One, because it's just going to make your head spin, and two, I don't even do it myself. I do the Google Ads itself, like the optimizing and the ads and all that kind of stuff. And but I have someone else that sets it up, and then I also have someone else that puts in the tracking codes in the beginning. Because one, I don't want to spend the time. Two, I just want to make sure it's correct. And three, I just don't want to do it. It's not enjoyable. Okay. So what we're going to do is, first thing you do is you're going to click campaign, hit new campaign. There's a lot of different options. Basically what this does is you're picking the goal for Google, because what Google's going to do is it's going to do whatever you tell it to do. So for sales, this isn't really going to work for us. This is more for e-commerce stores where someone searches for something and then they buy it right away. Whereas, for us, it's like they, look for us, they contact us, but they might not get a fence, maybe in a month at the soonest, but it could be 6 months. It could be a year. I've had people that contact us, we look in our CRM and, it's 18 months later. So this isn't going to work. Next thing is leads. This is what we're going to end up using. Website traffic. You basically don't want to use this because what happens is you're just paying people like Google to find people that just will show up to your website. There's plenty of people who do that, but the goal is to get people to actually contact you. Okay, and the other ones. But we're just going with this. The next one is the campaign type. So this is where you want to actually be seen. So if it's search or display, shopping, video, smart, or discovery, we're doing search. You don't want to mess with the other stuff. How do you want to reach your goal? Well, the goal is we have to get them to your website so that way we can get their information or phone calls and stuff like that. Okay, so this you would put in your website. Oh, my logo. Now this isn't my actual... This isn't my actual website. I have an actual website that my SEO team's working on, and it just takes too long for them to make the edits for me. So I use this to send them to landing pages. Now, you do not want to run your ads and send everything to your homepage. You want to basically send them to whatever they're looking for. So if they're looking just to find out how much a fence costs, then you want to send them to a page that shows them how much a fence costs. If they're looking for vinyl fencing, then you want to send them to a page that's about vinyl fencing. You don't want to send them to just some random page where they have to think about what to do. Because the more they have to think, the less likely they're going to move forward. There's a book, oh my God, The Story Selling. I can't find it on my bookshelf. I don't know where it is. Where are you? Oh, Building a Story Brand. Sorry. And then there's also Marketing Made Simple. It is by Donald Miller. I would pick that up. And basically says if you confused, if they're confused, you lose them, which is true. Okay. So anyway, put that, hit continue. The next thing we're doing is the campaign name. There's basically 3 buckets, right, within Google. There's the campaign, which is the overall, the ad, or the overall encompasses everything. So in my case, I have it set up for different areas. So like for one campaign, it's only going to Camden County. For one campaign, it's only going to Burlington County. And I just do that for each area. That's the way I personally set up. It's probably the way you're going to have to set it up. But in the beginning, you're just sending all your ads and everything else to all the areas you want to actually service. So this, we can just call it local. Down here, networks, you want to unselect this. Now, when Google puts up alerts and everything else and warnings and stuff like that, a lot of times it's not in your own best interest. Or if they put in recommended, it's not in your best interest. It's in their best interest to spend your money as quickly as possible. Okay? So you want to do this because you only want to find out on Google. Like, you don't want to show up on their sister sites, like some kind of news agency or something like that. You just want to show up on Google, so that we're picking this. And also take this off, Google search partners, okay? Because you don't want to show up in their display ads, because that's just a totally different mindset, and it doesn't work that well, at least in my case yet. But this, so uncheck everything, and this is where you're good to go. Okay. More settings. I think we're good. You can do start and end date. So if you only want to run it for a month, you can pick that. But I just run it like this. And this we're just leaving. And then next thing is locations. This is super important. If you don't mess with this, what's going to happen is your ads are going to show up in every single country in the world. Obviously, you don't want that to happen. So what you're going to do is click enter another location. And here is where you put in the things. I personally use counties. It's just easier. You can pinpoint different towns if you want to do that, but counties work really well. So for this, I would put in like Camden County. So you find Camden County and you hit target. Next I would hit in like Gloucester County. There. Okay. What you also want to do is put where you do not want to show up, because, for me, there's places like Camden. Even if you're not from Jersey, Camden is not nice. That Camden, well, you won't know this, but like the average house is way under $100,000. Like you could have houses for $50,000. Now, how can I possibly sell, a $5,000 to $10,000 fence to someone that owns a $50,000 house? It's not going to happen. So you don't want to show up there. So you would type in Camden. You would look for the city. See how it says county, 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 city? This makes it easier to find. So Camden, this, you hit exclude. So now if they're in there, then in that area, then you're not going to show up. The other thing, you want to look for other ones that you don't want to show up for as well. There's a place called Willingboro, and we don't want to show up in Willingboro because of the whole process. So they basically make you dig all the holes. Then they make you wait till someone comes out to inspect that you actually dug it 3 feet deep, and then you can finally install. Well, it creates all these delays, and sometimes they come out quick. Other time it could be hours. So we just don't do it. So same thing, we would exclude it. Okay. Next thing is the location options. This, in the beginning, just leave it as is. You don't have to worry about it. Next thing is the languages. So you want to make sure that if your website is only in English, you only want English speaking people. So you put that. Now, if you're in Canada and probably like not Mr. Fence, sorry, the Fence King, I believe in Louisiana, I think there's like French in there. So if you have a French and English website, then you would put French in here as well. Okay. Audiences, for now, you're just leaving that blank. That's more of an advanced kind of deal. Budget. How much do you want to spend per day? Like anything else, you have to spend money to make money. Okay. Me personally, I try to spend about $4,000 to $5,000 a month if I can. But typically, like we're somewhere around the $4,000 range, just because there's not enough search traffic. But for this, like just say you want to spend, $20 a day. So that would be $600 a month. Now, the thing to realize is that when Google sees this, they don't see $20 a day as the limit. They see $600 a month as the limit. So within the month period, the most they're going to spend is $600. But on a daily basis, sometimes they might spend $5. Sometimes they might spend $10. In the beginning, a lot of times what you'll see is they'll end up spending like 40, 50, 60 bucks and you're like, holy shit, right? But just know it's going to even itself out, okay? Now conversions. Right now, I can set mine to conversions. Like this is what they want to focus on. Like then you're basically telling Google that you only want to find people that are more likely to convert or to, you know, basically call or email or use the My Salesman tool, something like that. But in the beginning, you're going to have to pick clicks. And the reason for that is Google doesn't know any information about your company at this point. So what I normally suggest is starting with clicks for the first month. And then from there, you'll copy everything and then you'll put it over to conversions. Because at that point, after a month, you should have a few conversions. So then Google has some data and then they'll be able to send you the appropriate people. Okay. Now, this does take time. For this to work. Like in the beginning, your conversions are going to be sky high, but you have to expect that and just realize that they're going to come down over time with different changes you can make. And towards the end, I'll show you what actually happens. Okay, so for this, we're doing clicks. And then for this, we're just going to set the maximum cost per click. So this is every time someone clicks on an ad, how much is it costing you? And for this, we're just going to put $5. It depends on your area. So I'm in South Jersey. We're close to Philly. Like it's very populous. A lot of people use Google Ads. And so the cost per click is much higher. Now, if you're in an area where not many people are using it, well, you're not going to spend as much. But for now, just put $5. Okay. Show more settings. This we're leaving as it for now. This is more advanced. The site links. This is part of a different video, but I do want to explain this real quick. Let me get out of here. Okay, site links. Again, this is a different video, but or there's extensions. Sorry, I always call them site links. So the site links. Let me just show you an example. Here's an ad. Here's an ad. Here's an ad. See how much bigger this is? These are site links right here. But the thing is, you have to, like this whole process, you want to pretend you are the customer. So you would literally pretend if you're a fence company, you're searching whatever you think you would search, right? So, you know, if you're in Delaware, you're probably typing in fence company Delaware, or maybe how much does a fence cost, or something like that, right? And based upon that, you want to, like, you'll actually do some kind of research and see what people are writing here. And like, take notice to the things that you actually want to click on, okay? And you would write that down. So, you know, for here, like fence company New Jersey, like I typed in fence company Delaware. Why are you showing me something that says fence company New Jersey? I'm not clicking on you. So what happens is if you're not showing relevant information to the user for Google, then Google is going to charge you more because their goal is to have the best experience for their users. So if you're putting in fence company New Jersey and they search fence company Delaware, well, this is a complete mismatch. What's going to end up happening is you're going to spend more money. Okay. And then also you got to think of what's going to make you click. Like, do you really want to know about the wood fences or the gallery, like especially the gallery or the commercial fencing? More than likely you're residential. So like this doesn't make you want to click. You want to think about things that make you want to click. That's the name of the game. Because the more often they click, not only is it an option for you to actually you know, earn their business, but because more people are clicking on your ad, Google will reward you, and you might start down here. But then because you're being clicked more, then you go up to here, then to here, and then you overtake this company, even though you might only be paying like $2 a click. And this company, because they are advertising the wrong thing, they might be spending $5 for the same thing. So you're spending half the amount and you're showed higher than them. Super important, okay? But anyway, that's a site link extension. And these are crucial once you get going, because again, it's just more ad space. It's more likely to click on it. Like there's so much more. But again, you want to have different things. Me personally, I have one for vinyl fence pricing, aluminum fence pricing as low as $150 per month, and wood fence pricing. So that's what you would see here. And people are more likely to click on it. Again, I get the stuff cheaper. And then there's different other extensions, but I'm not going through that because it's just, we're not. Okay, save and continue. the next thing, and you see up here, we got to select the ad campaign settings. So we did that. Now we're in the ad group. So you basically have the campaign up top, and then you have the ad groups at the underneath that. So an ad group is basically used to house a ad group of ads. Group of ads. Okay, simple as that. And what I mean by that is you want to have different things. So like if as fence company, so if you do vinyl fence, aluminum fence, cedar fence, blah, blah, blah. Well, what you want to do is have one ad group for cedar fences, one ad group for vinyl fences, one group for aluminum fences, like whatever you do, one group for repairs, one for decks if you do decks, if you do painting, like staining, whatever. You're going to have one for each one because, again, you have to think like your customer. If they are searching for fence staining, you better show them a fence staining ad, not a fence installation ad, because one, no one's going to click on the ad. Two, even if they happen to click on it by accident, Google's charging you more because it's not what the person's looking for. Makes sense? Hopefully it does. So, and for this, you want to name the ad group. So for this, there's basically, there's a few main ones that I would always do. The first one, we're going to call the brand. Now, this is when you are going to advertise your own business, because if you aren't advertising for your own business, like for me, I'm Deptford Fence. So if someone searches in Deptford Fence and I am not showing, let me see what happens. I think I have myself. Company. So I actually have my IP address blocked so I don't show up. And so you'll see here, they typed in Deptford Fence Company. This is a good way to do it because they typed in Deptford Township Fence Contractor. So this is good. They did a good job with this. They're the best here. Wham Bam Fence, like it's not, like I'm looking for Deptford Fence. It's not showing up. Okay, they did a really good job. This is what you should do. So anyway, brand name, let me clear all these out. And for this, you would type in, there's different things to do. You want to make sure you do never just type in Deptford Fence. The reason for that is if the person just so happens to type in fence or they type in Deptford, you're going to show up. You don't want that, okay? So what you want to do is either do plus Deptford plus fence. So anytime they type in Deptford and fence in some order, you know, fence company in Deptford, then I would show up. But in this case, because it's my brand that I want to show up for, I would do this little bracket, this little bracket here, which is right above the enter. And I would type in Deptford Fence. So now anytime someone types in Deptford Fence, I'm going to show up. Okay. New ad group. So the next one, and again, you want to think about your customer. What's the number one question when they get a fence? How much does it cost? So the next one is fence cost. Okay. And for this, same thing. We're using the plus button and we're typing in fence plus, and then cost, enter. And then we're doing another one that's fence price. So anyone time they type in how much does a fence cost, how much does what's the price of a fence, what's the cost of a fence per foot, you're going to show up. Okay. New ad group. The next one is fence company, because again you want to think about like a customer and they're typing in fence company near me, fence company South Jersey, fence company Delaware, whatever. So same thing, we're typing in fence company. Simple enough. You can get more involved, but just start with this and then over time you can kind of optimize everything. So after that, we're saving it. So you see up here, now we're on to create the ads. Now, what I personally do and what I found that is working really well lately is people want to know how much a fence costs. So no matter if they're, for me right now, what I'm trying, but I'm always testing different things, is right now what I'm doing is no matter if they type in a fence company near me or if they're typing in Deptford Fence or no matter what, I'm pretty much showing them the same ad because it's working so well right now. And what you want to do is, I'm going to show you. So first thing you see here, the final URL, you see this little sign here? It'll tell you what's wrong. There's no HTTPS, which basically means your website is not secure. So you need to find out from whoever did your website. That could be your designer, it could be yourself or whatever else, but you got to make sure that you have an HTTPS. For WordPress, it's pretty easy. There's a plugin that basically automatically sends it to an HTTPS as long as you have one. But what'll happen is if you don't have one, or let me go back. So Google, again, is worried about their users and their experience. So what would happen if Google is sending people, their users, to an unprotected website, especially like just say they were buying something and they had to use a credit card? They're not going to do that because their user might get their information stolen because you didn't use a secure website. Or in our case, like they're not buying anything, so they'll still send us like their users to our website, but because there's more of a chance for their information to get stolen or whatever else that may happen, one, they're less likely to show your ads. And two, if they do show your ad, they're going to charge you a lot more than they would for someone that had a protected website. So make sure you do that. This could save you like legit thousands of dollars a year. Now this automatically got populated based upon my website, and because I use ClickFunnels, then it's showing up stuff for like funnels and that kind of thing. And going back, so why do I use ClickFunnels? So like I said, I use an SEO company that is working on my own website. So they're building out the SEO and all that kind of stuff. So I'm found free because that's the goal as well. Like I don't want to pay for this for the lifetime, but I will. But because of that, they're not going to make the changes for me as quickly as possible. The other thing is I know how to use WordPress. I have no problem with WordPress. That's how I build all my websites. But what I'm finding lately is if you aren't up to date with literally everything within your WordPress, so like all the plugins and all this other crap, your site is more likely to get hacked. And mine got hacked several times at this point. So now I'm just using ClickFunnels, even though it costs me money a month compared to WordPress. I don't want any issues, okay? And because what will happen is if your site is hacked, especially Facebook will do this, is if your site's hacked and you're still sending information to them, a lot of times you won't even know it's hacked. And what will happen is like your ad accounts will get disabled because they think you're intentionally sending them to a hacked website. So that's why I use ClickFunnels. Plus it's super easy to use. Anyway, so headline one, and if you're interested in that, like I can put in links and show you videos if you want to do that. Headline. So this is the headline here. So this is headline, this is the first headline, this is the second headline. If you see down here, headline 1, headline 2, headline 3. It's very rare that they show the third one unless everything's very small. Yeah, there's none. There's none. Okay. So basically, usually the first two are going to be shown up. And the way you can tell is basically you have this, and then once you have this little dash, typically that is the space in between the two headlines. So that's headline 1, headline 2. Okay, again, you want to actually research in your area what people are looking for to see what they put in here that would make you want to click. And you want to use that as well, or some kind of variation of it. Yes, is it copying? Yeah. But if you look at things such as copywriting, they basically say, and it's same with advertising as well, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Like you want to use what works. So if they put in something in their headline and it made you want to click, well, you want to put that in there as well because it's going to make your customers want to click as well. Okay, so we just scroll down here. Fence company, New Jersey, expert fence fence companies, get up to 4 quotes free. Nice. Okay, that one's one and done, kind of done. Family-owned business, that's nice if that's important to you. Like everyone's different, and you got to think about what's your ideal customer. The reason why I just thought of that, we go down here. Cheap fence installers. Cheap. Do you want to be known as a cheap fence company? Now, and the answer is no. And I believe the quote was from Dan Kennedy, which is a copywriter, but it basically said, I don't know word for word, but if you can't be the cheapest one, there's no strategic advantage of being the second cheapest. So what that means is if you can't be the Walmart and have this massive amount of volume, then you need to be the most expensive, because otherwise there's all that gray area in between that is like the battlefield, and that's where everyone dies. And why do I say that? Because when you are able to charge more than everyone else, or if you charge more than everyone else, what that allows you to do is reinvest within your company. It will allow you to, like in my case, because I charge more than everyone else. I've only been in business for 5 years. I started with no experience pretty much within the fencing industry, so I was figuring everything out on my own. But for the last like 18 months, I've only worked about 18 months ago, I was probably working about an hour or two a day, going from like 80 hours a week. And then now I'm working about 15 minutes a day. Like this video is gonna take me more time than what I actually spend on my own company every day. And the reason why I can do that is because I can afford to pay my employees because I charge more than everyone else. Not only that, I'm able to advertise more because I have the funds to advertise. And then, yeah, so it's that simple. So things like this, you want to think about your ideal fence company or ideal customer. So if they're worried about quality workmanship, if I like to hire the right fence installer, that's cool. But the cheap one I don't like. But anyway, you would find the stuff. Now, what's working for me? This is what I would first start out with. And you can do a few different variations. Like how much does a fence cost? And you do question mark. Okay. Now with this, you can't use exclamation points. You can't use excess punctuation. So you can't do like ... or something like that. So it would be how much does a fence cost? And find out in just 2 minutes. There you go. So you want to do stuff like that. The other one that's working really well is instant fence pricing. And then you know how I talked about the different groups. So like if you're advertising for, if someone searches for an aluminum fence, well, instead of being instant fence pricing, it would be instant aluminum fence pricing. If you're searching for vinyl, instant vinyl fence pricing, because that's the main thing. You got to think like your customer. What do you want to know? You want to know how much it costs. Because what'll happen is, like, you know, most people, and I'm sure you know it, is they may think it's going to be a $5,000 job, but in reality, it's like $8,000 job. Well, that's the difference between them moving forward and not. So they need to know that information like now. And the way you do that is through tools such as Google, not Google, My Salesman, stuff like that. We personally use our own custom GPS program just because of what I like. We do a lot of automations and stuff. But using My Salesman, something like that. But anyway, this will get them to click. And this, I think I have like easy and hassle free. Okay. Only two. That's too long. And like you only have 30 characters, but you play around with this. Easy and hassle free. Like I have something like that. Or, you know, something like that. Anyway, and then you want to do your third headline as well. Typically what I'll do for this is I will put in whatever they're searching for. So because I'm using pretty much the same ad right now, I'll actually put in here like fence company in South Jersey. Something like that. So that way it's relevant to the ad, because the more relevant your ad is, the less you're going to end up paying. Even though they're not going to end up seeing this. Okay, so we delete this. Down here's the description. So same as like what you see here. This, and the same thing. You want to find out what the you go through, pretend you're a customer, and see which one, you know, see which one of the headlines is going to make you click, and use that kind of stuff for your own headlines. And then you want to start reading the description, which is here. Okay, you know, here. Like just looking at this, this is you know, Fence Company is one of the top fence companies in New Jersey. No one cares. Okay. Step 1, enter your zip code. Step 2, find your 4 local pros, compare, blah, blah, blah. This is too long, but I do like the steps, and I'll probably use something like this in mine. Okay. We design and build perfect iron security fences. Like, no. Okay. Install. The ones you actually should really look at is like Home Advisor and stuff like that, and Thumbtack, which is at the bottom. The reason for that is they're spending millions of dollars. So if they're spending millions of dollars on advertising, you need to, like, you know that their shit's working. They're using the best of the best to optimize and everything else. They're doing stuff that you can't even dream of doing at this point, even if you paid someone else, because their budgets are just ridiculous. So that's why you go through and copy it. Find fence installers near you who are ready to get the job done. Thumbtack finds you high quality fence installers and lets you book instantly. Like this is perfect. Like this kind of stuff, like I'll have to end up using book instantly. Like this is what people want. Like we're now the Amazon generation. Like, you know, when I want something, I want it like tomorrow. If I have to wait 2 and 3 days, like I'm kind of pissed at this point. Like I'm, you know, I'm spoiled. Upfront pricing, you know, all this stuff. Compare profiles and prices. No obligation. Upfront pricing. Get quotes in minutes. Like this is huge. Use this information. There's another quote. It's the it's like good copywriters. I forget what it is. So basically, you know, good copywriters do this. Great copywriters steal. And you're basically taking what works, because again, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're doing what works. If you try to be clever, if you try to be whatever, it's not going to work. Just do what they do, okay? And speaking of those extensions I was talking about, these are another few. Cost Guide. If you look, let me go up here, see what the other ones do. There's none up here. So the guys that are just companies by themselves, you can see they're not using anything. But if you come down here, it's not as big as the site links, but here, this is just another ways for people to click on fence install prices. This is what people want to see. Wood fence install, get a free estimate today, don't DIY, you know, stuff like that. Cost Guide, that's perfect. Home Advisor, you know, learn how to make your projects more affordable. Like that's something when I want to say. Find pro, blah, 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 okay? So do that, put that information in here. And again, you don't want to make it about yourself. It's only about the customer, and everything is what's in it for them. How can you make their life better? You put that in there. For me personally, because of the instant ballpark pricing, you know, getting a fence soon, want to know how much it costs. I'm just making this one up. Cost, find out in 2 minutes. No. Something like that. Good to go. And then you can do a description too. Sometimes it shows up, but a lot of times it's just the first one. So we're doing instant vinyl fence pricing, easy and hassle-free, getting a fence soon. All right, and this, like if you're doing for vinyl, so same thing. You would put getting a vinyl fence soon. Want to know how much it costs? Find out in 2 minutes. Like that's it. Like you're finding, and this is, so these are the options that I have here. Same thing, like that's what would show up. If I showed up at the top, this is what would come here instead. And you can see how this would be a hell of a lot more enticing for a vinyl fence pricing or, you know, instant fence pricing, put something like that. And yeah, they're good to go. So after that, what you can do is, me personally, I would start with just the same ad. Now this works really well. But this I would just change it to instant fence pricing. Okay. So then what you would do is just take all this information and copy it into here. Because if you notice, this is for your brand. So you would put this in here. Or for this, since it's your brand, you could also put in Deptford Fence Company or whatever. But it works really well. So I would do like Deptford Fence Company and then put instant fence pricing. Like that's what they want to see. Okay. Then next one for the fence company, you would just copy the information, put it all in here, and then here, and then each time you would just hit, you know, done. So that one's good. Then for fence company, copy this stuff in, hit done. Copy the stuff in here, hit done. Okay. Then after you're done, hit save and continue. Now we want to review, and then we are going to, this basically just does everything, and then you publish, which basically means it's going to be live. Now, when you first go into here, I don't like this setup. You would just hit all campaigns, and then local. So this is the one we just did. Okay, so just real quick, you can see in here, if you hit settings and hit locations, you just double check this stuff. The last thing I want to show you real quick is keywords, negative keywords. This is just as important as the location. You know, when we said you had to make sure you're putting your locations, otherwise you're going to show up in the entire country. And by the way, when you do that, you're going to spend a shit ton of money real quick. Like I've done stuff where I forgot, I made it live at like 10 o'clock at night. I check it the next morning, I spent like $300, like in hours, and it's people across the country. Negative keywords. These are really important because you also, besides telling Google when you want to show up, you want to tell Google when you do not want to show up. This is super important. I didn't do this in the beginning, and this is why the guy that said that I'm some kind of Google huckster, hope you're listening. This is why you weren't. This is why you weren't successful. Along with one other thing that I'll be showing you. And the reason for that is, like, you got to think about your ideal customer. Now, for me, I don't want cheap people. I don't want to do chain link. I don't want to do repairs. Like, I don't do commercial, like all that kind of stuff, right? So how do you not show up for that? Well, you click keywords and then negative keywords, and then you hit this little plus sign. Then what we're going to do is for the campaign, and you can also do a list as well. But for now, we're just going to make it nice and easy. So same as when we were doing the keywords, we're going to use the plus button, okay? So for this, I don't want to show up for cheap. I don't want to show up for inexpensive. I don't want to show up for repairs. I don't want to show up for repair, chain link, put it together. If in your area, if they call it like cyclone, you know, whatever, repairs, commercial. Oops. Again, think as a customer or what your customer would search, and you just want to make sure you don't show up for things you don't want to show up for. I know I keep saying it, but the cheap and expensive, if you would do nothing else in your business this year, if you're a newer company, if you were like me just a few years ago and you think that to book more jobs, you just need to lower your price and beat people out on pricing. Yeah, it kind of works, but like for us, we did about 350 installs this year, just roundabout. If I would have lowered my price just $100 to match pricing or just book more jobs, whatever else, that's $35,000 that I lost in profit. Like I literally took $35,000 in my pocket and gave it to my customers. You don't do that. The other reason why you don't do that, and you don't have to do that, is when you start using Google Ads and you start using the Google My Business, which if you haven't watched that video, I'll post that as well. And that's how, like, Google My Business was 4,000 phone calls. Even if everyone called twice, that's still 2,000 leads I got from that in 2020. And then the Google Ads portion was another 4,000 leads. So in total, I had 8,000 leads just from Google My Business and Google Ads. That doesn't include organic or anything else, but just from Google, from the paid and the My Business, 8,000 leads. Okay. Anyway, so you got that. So we save that. Now, the last thing I didn't talk to you about is we're going back into all campaigns and we're going into local. And then we go into each individual one. So we go to add an extension. Here's the ad. Okay, so we're back in here. The landing page. Okay, so it actually wouldn't be here. You need to send them to a specific landing pages. You do not want to send them to your home page. So if someone's typing in, and why is this? So again, everything for Google is how do you make the best, and it's not just for Google, it's for your own, you know, for your own benefit as well. So if someone is typing in vinyl fence, okay, and you have an ad group called Vinyl Fence and about getting your instant vinyl fence price. Well, do you want to send them to your homepage that has a bunch of random shit? Or do you want to send them to a page that's about vinyl fences and how to get their vinyl fence price instantly? Like, it's option 2. So that's where you send them to. So every ad, depending on what you're looking at, needs to go to something different. Now, me personally, right now, we're running this one page that we're testing. It's this. And so I'm not a web designer at all. Most of my stuff is very ugly, but it works very well. Okay, so most of them are going to this. So I'm not going to get into the specifics, but basically I'm testing on different things, and the goal is for them to know, like, and trust me as quickly as possible. Okay, so for this, I have about the 1,250 homeowners put their trust in us. Now, if you look down here, I was actually able to find, if you use Google My Maps, you can actually upload all your jobs into this. So then they can actually search, like just say, here's a cluster, Haddon Heights. Pretend I lived here, right? Just for the hell of it. look at all these houses that were done right around the corner from here. So what happens is they're more likely to trust me, not only because, the first step was to put 1,250 homeowners trust us, okay? That's step number one. Step number two is the closer that customer is in proximity to this person that's on your website, the more likely they're gonna trust this, okay? Not only that, actually I'll go into something else. So the next thing, the knowing part. So now I have a video that's actually me talking. So I have this so that way they can know me, and up here, they're gonna trust me more, okay? And also this is hopefully to get me to like me, but whatever. The next part is we just have some call outs, like some stuff that's important to them. So like the lifetime fence warranty, extended labor warranty, and unbelievably reliable. Again, we're testing this. We'll see what works, what doesn't work. I might put a headline up here, never be bothered by your fence again, which would be, seems like what most people don't want to be bothered by. Get your price in 5 minutes. Now I'm testing another page where all this information is actually up here. But again, I'm trying to find ways where I'm kind of warming them up. And then with this page, I'm warming them up. And then down here is where I get them to actually start getting their price. Whereas the other one, we're starting with this, getting their price. And then after that, then getting more into the know, like, and trust kind of deal. Okay. And for this, whenever, this is important as well. When you are using, whatever you want your customer to do. So if you want them to call or to schedule a call or use the do-it-yourself online tool, you want to make it a completely different color and brighter. So that way when they're scrolling through, if you look here, you go through, this orange just pops out right away because this is what you want them to do. Okay. The next thing we have is video testimonials. These are very important. The way you get them is asking people to do them for you. Me personally, what I do is I offer $25 as a gift to them or a donation to the charity of their choice. And that is for if they just do a Google review. Now, if they do a video review, then I give them $50, okay? And then depends on the person, like this one, Mark B, he did an awesome review. He was part of the VFW, and I said, hey, because of this, we sent $500 instead, because, so that's what we do. Part of the reason is because my uncle actually is in a VFW home. So anyway, next part about getting your price, this is another option. So if, for this, it's for, if the people want to call or schedule a call, if they click the online tool, it just goes down here. Now, the other thing, a pro tip for you, is you want to change it based upon if you're on a phone or on the desktop. The reason for that is, like my salesman, it doesn't really work on a phone. It works better on a tablet and works the best on a desktop computer. So what we have this set up to do is if they are on a desktop computer, they will see this. If they are on a cell phone, they do not see this. If they are, same thing for here. Again, the whole thing is thinking about your customer and just doing, putting everything in place for what they want to see. And because you don't want to show them, this if they can't use it. Like, you're just going to frustrate them, and then they're going to say, screw this, I'll go to someone else. Same thing for here. This is for my desktop, but if they're on a cell phone, they're only seeing these two options. They don't see this because, again, why would I link them down to here if they can't even really use the tool? Like, why piss them off? Okay. The final thing is I put about the financing, and actually I just got an alert today. You should check out to see if there is an affiliate link for whoever you use. Like, I know a lot of guys use Hearth. I forget my company, Lightspeed or something like that. We've used them for like 2 years now, but actually what I do is I have an affiliate link on here, so then they go right to where I want them to go for the financing, but whenever they use it, I actually get paid. So I actually got paid, today I got $140 or $160, and like last week I got $80. Like, I didn't do anything. Like, not only did they buy a fence, but then I'm making like an extra $80 for the financing on top. And the other cool part is, even if they don't go with you, if they go with someone else, but they still use the financing, you're still making money from them. How awesome is that? Right? Anyway, the final thing, you always need to test your landing pages or the website pages to make sure everything works properly. And what I just realized is I just made this page up on like Saturday, and I didn't test it because you know why? Because I was making the last video and I click on here to see the monthly price. I went back up to the top. Like, again, I'm not doing what the customer wants. So now after this video, I have to go change this real quick. But anyway, so you have this. So I hope that all makes sense. Again, there's a lot more involved that you can get involved with the whole Google Ads. But when it breaks down, it's very simple. And then as you get more in depth, like for me, I broke everything out. So before, when I first started, I started like I showed you. So I went to, one campaign went to Camden County, Burlington County, Gloucester County, like all these counties. But now what I started doing, and I did this the other day, is I started breaking everything up. Okay, so I have one that goes to Delaware. I have one that goes to Gloucester County. And I'm also trying different ways as well. So there's Gloucester, there's Salem, there's Burlington. Because what I want to do is start finding out, where are the cheapest clicks coming in? Not only that, but where are the actual customers coming from? So I can start, I forget who the quote by was. This is years ago, like decades ago. But the quote was like, half of your advertising money is a waste. Like, half of it works, half of it doesn't work. The problem is you don't know which half. So that's my personal journey this year, where I'm building out a program that tells me, I will know what they searched, what campaign, the keywords they used, everything else. I'll find out which ones are actually worth my time, because I might find out that, all my advertising for Gloucester County is really kicking off and like I'm booking a ton of jobs. Whereas Burlington, there might be a ton of leads coming in, but no one's booking jobs with me. So I need to cut that off and spend more money in Gloucester County. And that's basically the name of the game. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's shorter than the last one. And if you have questions, or you're gonna have questions, let me know and I can help you out with that, make videos or respond or whatever. If you want the information from my, like who I use as far as putting in the tracking codes and stuff, I can let you know that as well. I have no affiliation. I don't get any kickback. It's just he does great work for me. I respond, like ask him something, I get a response in hours. Like he's in California. So a lot of times what happens is I will send him the information, what I want changed, and then he'll actually change it throughout, like basically at night here. So that way in the morning time, it's ready to go. So there's no like delay. But anyway, I hope you enjoy. Oh, to show you what's possible. So let's just go, this I was talking about the optimizing earlier. So you can see here, this is for the last 7 days. So right now, Delaware. Delaware I was having issues with. Right now it's for the last 7 days, I'm getting leads for $15 a piece. I just want to do for the last, because this is where I made some changes. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, apply that. No, it's not much better. It's only 2063. I don't think that yesterday was that great. Yeah, something like that. So like Sunday, Monday was good. Yesterday wasn't that great. But what I want to show you now is like the last 30 days. What you see here, Delaware. I was spending $72 for a lead. And this is the kind of stuff you can expect in the very beginning. And it's just going to happen until a few things. One, it takes time for Google to learn. And then two, you just have to optimize things. Like what was happening in my mind is I'm located in South Jersey, so I'm sending people to the same landing page, but I wasn't putting anything about Delaware. So they're thinking, because I'm in South Jersey, I don't service them, right? Easy enough. So that's why I changed that. The other thing is like, that's another reason why I'm using mylocalfencecompany.com, because if they see Deptford fence, like they don't know Deptford. Like if I had Middletown, which is in Delaware, which is where I'm trying to target, they're less likely to use me. So this is important. So do that. But you can see what's possible, even though like if we took out this, because this completely destroyed me, my numbers down here. But even with the Delaware being 72, my average cost per lead is 20. It's actually, if you take out the Delaware, so let's go into, so if you see here, these are numbers that are closer. We're typically between 10 and 15, depending. The last few days have been absolutely insane. Let's go in here. So you see here, we're at 953. Like we're doing really well. And it's just because of the optimizing and more focus on like, what do the customers want to see? And again, everything you do is going through here. Like do your research, see what works. Don't think of something clever because it's not going to work. Like really go after, everyone hates HomeAdvisor. Never personally used them, but this will help you out tremendously. or the ads that they're using. You know, if they're using it, you can be sure that it works 100%. This, I'm also trying to get this review rating. I'm working on that. Anyway, have a great day. See you later.